Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm the Mellow Mama, and today I'll be discussing discipline without punishment. You might have asked yourself or heard the question, how can I teach my kids social norms, life's lessons? How can I correct inappropriate behavior without punishing them, without putting them in pain, without making them uncomfortable? And the reason this is such a common question, and it's something that many of you have asked me that led me to do this video, is because it's based on very common mainstream thinking. Behaviorism is something that was created in the late 1800s, and it wasn't meant for people. It was meant for unconscious beings, or what they deemed unconscious beings. That's a whole nother argument, but it's basically meant for animals. Reward and punishment. We want to reward the behavior that we want to see continue, punish the behavior that we wish to see cease, and it's effective. Punishments and rewards work to a certain degree when you want to be in a system of control. And we see relationships based on control all the time in our society, whether it's between a parent and a child, or it's between a husband and a wife. It's very common to see that one person thinks they need to shape the other person or influence the other person. In my personal opinion, based on the research that I've done and the books that I've read and the experience that I've had, this is just not healthy, and I don't believe that any person should have any ownership over another, whether that's your kids or your husband or your wife. When we place this system of control in our relationship with our children, we are basically stating that we own them, that we dictate what they do, when they do it, and why they do it, and that is how we will best relate to our kids, and that is how we will have a good, strong household with happy people. And the truth is that there's absolutely no way that those things can be derived from a system of control, because no person wants to be controlled. We're free individuals. Now, some people argue that children need to be controlled because there's the parent-child relationship fundamentally as a relationship, as opposed to a project in which one party is shaping the other. Of course, our children need us to be confident, calm leaders. We need to guide them, but that is much different from what punishments and rewards are doing. It takes away their ability to assess their true values, where their moral compass is derived. Once we have this understanding that we do not own our children, that they are whole people, that we want to build a life with, coexist with peacefully, in a gentle way, in a loving way. That way we can really live life with them and experience the richness and fullness of life, because we're not trying to do anything but be there for them, to guide them, to help them learn and understand what it means to be alive and how you can do that in the best possible way. It's very easy to understand why punishments and rewards are only doing harm to our relationship that we're trying to build. Roslyn also likes to use the analogy, and I really like it too, that our new baby is some sort of distinguished guest from a far, far away place, and they simply have not been introduced to our customs and our way of life. Our job as parents is to welcome with open arms this guest and introduce them, let them know how we live life and what we do and why we do it, and do that in a peaceful way, just like we would with our guest. It's such an easy thing to do with children because they are always absorbing. They are information gatherers. They're constantly grasping for new knowledge and more understanding of where they fit in this new place, in this world. How do relationships work, and where are they placed? So you can imagine that absolutely every experience becomes a learning or teaching opportunity when you're a parent or a child. So it's important to ask yourself a couple of questions all the time. What am I teaching my child? How am I teaching it? Are they learning what I'm trying to teach them? In regard to the third question, are they learning? Are they picking up on my guidance? It's important to consider how we learn best as people. No one learns well in a state of discomfort or pain. And when we punish our children, we are naturally putting them in a state of discomfort shame, pain, unhappiness. And you could imagine that no one learns well that way. If we want our children to learn the lesson that it is we want them to, we need to make sure that they're in a state of open-mindedness. We need them to have some clarity, possibly quiet if that's possible, and understand that, of course, that's necessary. In terms of the what am I teaching my child question, this is my favorite part. When we punish someone, we're teaching them so much, but none of it has to do with the actual problem at hand. Like I mentioned, that children are always learning in every interaction that we have with them, especially they're learning about themselves, us, the world, where they fit into that world, and how relationships should work. When we use a punishment, for example, if my son hits someone, and I decide to tell him, Donovan, that is not okay. I'm not going to let you hit. You're going to sit in timeout. No, don't look at me. I'm very ashamed of you. I'm very disappointed in you. Go, sit over there. You need to sit and think about what you've done. I've just taught him, one, in regard to my relationship, that I own him. I can tell him what to do and when, how to feel and why to feel it, and that I really am in control of him and his feelings and his interpretations of his actions. I've also taught him that he's bad, he should feel shame, and that he does not deserve love from me in certain times, especially not when he makes a mistake. That those mistakes are defined by me and other adults, and that when made, he will feel pain. So many issues here. The main one being that I don't want my son to ever feel any of those things. I never want him to be in pain. It's inevitable, but not for me to inflict on him. I don't think that's my right. Aside from that, people, when punished, can either internalize the pain that they're experiencing or externalize it. Internalization sounds sort of like, well, he's in timeout. I do deserve this. I was bad. I'm bad. I should feel shame. I am ashamed. Mom shouldn't want to see me right now. She shouldn't love me right now because I'm bad. Externalization would sound more along the lines of, I don't deserve this. My mom is supposed to be there for me. My mom is supposed to be on my side. Next time, I'm going to hit harder. Actually, next time I won't get caught. In regard to specific types of punishments, what are we teaching our children? When we spank or hit our kids, we're teaching them that it is okay to hit if you are in control of the other person. Because I control my son, it's okay that I hit him. Because he is smaller than me and I own him, I am the authority figure, it's okay for me to hit him. But if we were to put this in perspective of any other relationship than the parent-child relationship, hitting is never okay. You can go to prison or jail for hitting someone. If a husband hits his wife, is it okay? No. It's never okay. To justify hitting your child to teach them something makes very little sense. Logically, like we've stated in the beginning, our kids learn when our relationship is strong. When we are in their corner, when we're their teammate, they can learn when they're at peace, when things are quiet and calm, when they're in pain, when they're feeling unloved, unappreciated, ashamed. They are thinking about themselves. They can't even possibly consider even what they've done or why they did it. All they know in the moment of being punished, especially in a physical sense, is that they are not worthy of your love. You are in control of their life, or you're going to try to be in control of their life, and they have the right to push back because they have free will as human beings, and that they have done something wrong to displease you, but it has nothing to do with their character. Everything is about you and them, not the problem. The issue at hand, what actually started this entire process, the hitting, is now gone. Nobody's thinking about that. Nobody's learning about that Nobody has even touched on the fact that when you hit someone, it hurts. You're inflicting pain on another person. Now you can imagine that hitting your child to teach them the lesson that it hurts when you hit somebody, and that's not something nice to do, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And it's not going to clear anything up for your children. If anything, it's going to teach them that hitting is absolutely okay as long as you're in control of the other person. In regard to a timeout, we're teaching our kids that we need space from them when they make a mistake. We are ashamed of them. We do not want to see them, and neither does anyone else. If we want our kids to learn something about what they've done and the consequence, we need to take time in with them. We need to go deeper. Ask them real questions. Consider why whatever happened in the first place. Feel out where they're coming from and why they decided to do whatever it was they decided to do. Really consider what they're experiencing. That's the way that we can build a road to a conscious life. And if you don't have children and you're just watching this, I really highly recommend that you do this with yourself. If you behave in a way that is just out of character for you, or you do something that you think, oh, I'm really ashamed of that. I can't believe I just spoke to that person that way, or I just had whatever sort of interaction. Go deeper with yourself. Pause. Take a moment to ask yourself, okay, what am I feeling and why? What am I thinking and why? Where is that coming from? And how can I solve the actual issue? It's so vitally important to do this with our children and to simply be there for them. That's the only way that we can teach them what it is we want them to learn. All people need guidelines. Children especially need clear boundaries, clearly communicated guidelines that they can follow to function and feel their best. They are new. They need our help. We don't need to perceive that as a control. When we look at this relationship like they need us to be there for them, it's much easier to not get aggravated or annoyed or bothered when our child does something that we perceive as wrong, because we think my child needs me right now to understand that this behavior is unacceptable or inappropriate. I really recommend reading Janet Lansbury's book, No Bad Kids. She sort of touches on the fact that when our children are having an extreme reaction or behaving in a way that's inappropriate after we've asked them not to, or we've told them that it's not acceptable, we need to reassess how we perceive that. Instead of saying, my kids are giving me a difficult time, we need to say, my child is having a difficult time. I need to be there for them. I need to understand them. I need to be that calm, confident, consistent leader that they truly need. And we also need to be available physically. We need to be able to step in when our children truly need us. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in terms of an emergency or something like that. But if our kids are having a hard time and they're resisting whatever it is that we're requesting from them, for example, Donovan loves to walk toward the road. This is not safe. Okay, even if we live in the quietest, most peaceful, dead neighborhood, it's not a good habit for him. So, a lot of the time, we'll be walking around the sidewalk in the cul-de-sac area, and I will say, hey Donovan, I see that you're walking toward the road. I'm not going to allow you to do that. Will you come here? And I give him the option when there's obviously no commotion, there's no risk for actual danger. And if Donovan proceeds and continues, I say again, Donovan, I'm not going to allow you to go into the road. It's not safe. But I see you want to walk in the road. Are you going to come to me on your own, or would you like my help? Okay, I'm not going to allow you to walk in the road. I'm going to help you go back onto the sidewalk. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Pick him up and place him next to me. I need to physically insert myself into the situation in a calm, loving, gentle way. That way my son consistently understands the concept. The road isn't safe. My mom is guiding me. She has my back. And before things get frustrating or aggravating or you see something serious happen, get into the situation. In terms of hitting or something like that, just to touch on it really quick because that's something that's commonly asked. Of course, do not let your kids hurt another person. Step in physically. I'm not going to allow you to hurt your friend. I'm not going to allow you to hit. Calmly, gently holding your children's hands. And if they're continuing to try to hit or something, you can say, I'm not going to allow you to hurt her or him. I'm going to help you leave the situation. Okay? 1, 2, 3. And we are off to talk about the actual problem at hand in a calm, gentle, loving way. We consistently take the time to gently and calmly and confidently step in when our children need us. The relationship can only become stronger. Our ability to teach our kids will only get easier. Our ability for our children to learn from us will just get more and more simple because they'll trust us. When you view your child with the sense of ownership, that you have the right to control them, you take away any opportunity for this beautiful growth in the relationship. Because no person wants to be controlled. There will always be resistance, and it will only get worse with time. That's why people constantly joke with me, oh, wait till Donovan's a teenager with all of that respectful stuff. There will only be resistance when someone is trying to control the other, because we're meant to be free. Simple as that. Finish up, I'm going to reference Roslyn Ross one more time. She says, I'm going to read it word for word, the vast majority of unhappiness in the parent-child relationship is the result of well-intentioned parents trying to make children do what they don't want to do. Few of us parents are prepared to accept that it is our attempts to control that destroys the only thing we have with our children that gives us some influence over them, our relationship. It's ironic, but the only way that we really will be able to influence our kids is if we have a strong relationship with them, if they trust us, if they really believe that we are there for them, that we want them to be happy, to be themselves. That's what's going to give us any influence at all. So if you do really want to guide your kids, the last thing you want to do is try to control them, especially with behaviorist tactics. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It means a lot to me. It's something I'm very passionate about. If you have any questions or comments, please, as always, leave them below. I'm happy to respond to you guys, and I love getting to know you. Look out for other videos from me. I'm posting a lot more now, and I'm covering all sorts of topics, but you guys know this is where my heart resides. I love discussing conscious living and parenting, and I will continue to do so. If you haven't subscribed already, please do that. And that should be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Mwah. See you on the next one.